because especially in this era, AI is really dominating the world, right? Where you need to have that human connection, and you're able to articulate the message clearly, and it is really important for the child to learn the nuances of communication, so then they don't feel like I'm not heard. Through a form of impromptu topics, we then ask them to tap into their creativity. There is a research, what they have done is, kids who have started going to school after the pandemic, they have difficulty in social skills and communication skills. Public speaking is not just for prepared speeches. It's not for someone who can talk about their innovations or presentation at work. That is one part of public speaking. But public speaking, by its literal meaning, is if whatever conversation we are doing, Meena, if I have to answer this when there are more than 5 or 10 people or 100, then this becomes public speaking. 80-20 principles for high school students, so they understand the amount of effort of work, where to focus on. And we also talk about cause and effect. We also talk about perception versus projection. So they are being introduced all these new concepts, so they understand that they're not looking for external validations. They are more grounded. So when you introduce all these things, they have the clarity and they are more focused, and obviously they'll be more confident and they are more competent as well.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Wellbeing in Me podcast. In today's episode, I have a very special guest who is Indu, the founder of Youth Orators Academy. She's also a founder of a couple of businesses, mainly based on emotional well-being and healing. For women, it is Manasvi Healing, but for kids, it is Youth Orators Academy. And in today's episode, we are focusing on youth orators. And this is where she has explained about why should kids learn to express themselves and communicate well from a young age, and how it helps to build future leaders. And she teaches them not just public speaking and communication, but also emotional regulation. She is also teaching them a lot of life skills, like, for example, teaching them what is a return of investment, teaching them about perception versus projection. Listening to this episode will help kids and their parents to see how they can enhance their life just by learning how to express themselves. And that's where Indu is a legend in it. And I'm sure you will all enjoy this episode as much as me. And if you have got a young child, I would highly recommend, taking your children to Indu for building them as a future leader. Hi, Indu.
Hello, Meena.
Why do you think communication or expressing themselves is very important for kids?
Communication is a basic way of sharing the information or connecting with people, right? As a child, when we were born, through crying, that's how we communicated to the world. Like, the doctors test the baby, whether it's crying, whether it's alive, is it able to breathe. So that's a very basic form to say, I'm existing, right? And as a child develops, they pick up the language skills, they pick up many things from their environment, and for them to learn and grow, communication is the biggest tool for them. And for us to communicate effectively is really must, because especially in this era, AI is really dominating the world, right? Where you need to have that human connection, and you're able to articulate the message clearly, and it is really important for the child to learn the nuances of communication, so then they don't feel like I'm not heard. That actually resolves many issues as they grow, like behavioral issues or even as an adult, like how they are going to cope up themselves emotionally. So I think communication is very foundation and fundamental, and that is really important for them to learn and master that skill.
Yeah, I definitely think so too, because we all learned and picked up that skill much later as an adult, after, working in a place and trying our best to communicate something, pass the message, and then struggling with it. And then, so it has been a deep journey. And yeah, definitely, I think it is very important for children to learn it early as well. Yeah. So I know you teach kids public speaking, but how does youth orators add to the well-being of the children? How does it help a child? If I have to put my child there, my child is grown up now, but let's say, because a lot of my friends have been asking about it as well, and I've been telling people in my circle. So there are a few questions which are coming up later, which they have been asking me. But then, what does youth orators add to any child who comes into that program?
Well, that's a very good question and also a broad question, but I will let you know what it is. So, when they come to this Youth Orators program, first of all, it gives them the platform where they can express anything they would want to express. Now, that could be like at the start of the session, we ask, like, what was your win for this week? What did you learn? What was your challenge and how did you overcome, like anything that they feel positive about it, and they share it, so that gives them, like, I've been heard, like I can tell them, like, I won the reward in the school, I did this carnival, swimming carnival. So they share all of that. So that is one thing, it gives them the platform where they can express. Not just with that, through a form of impromptu topics, we then ask them to, tap into their creativity. That is very important, right? Because as we are growing, I think as adults, we sometimes say, I don't have any creativity at all, in terms of thinking, or even, any art form. We are so monotonous, but then we are tapping into the creative skills of, answering the response. And well-being, in that I have tied up, because I'm coming from an NLP background. I understand about the neuro-linguistic and the emotional concept of it. So when student is asked to talk in front of people, whether it's, you know two or three kids around them, or it's like, 50 people on, yeah, in a stage, where they have this fear, like, okay, I'm being watched, how am I going to say these things? So the first thing is the fear, how they can then overcome that stage fear. Because the stage fear is like, if I'm saying something wrong, I will be judged. I would feel shame or bad about myself, and all these emotions that tangle. So then we tell them how to regulate that before you even step onto the stage. We teach them box breathing, and then as they do that, and then, when someone is asking something, the self doubt and all these things starts developing from the age of 1 to 7, right? Yeah, when I'm not giving a proper answer, and if there's someone said, that's not the right answer, or even before we say something, we have this thought, is my answer correct? So then we then give them the affirmations to develop that self belief. What is your affirmation statement? So they write their affirmation statement on their own. I am good at this. I am this person. So they create their own affirmation, which then helps them feel anchored. Like whenever there's a moment where they have the self doubt, they can use that. And, we ask them to do the journaling and all these little tools that helps them to regulate their emotions, be more self-aware, and not to feel dejected about whatever the challenges they come across in their daily routine. So that's what Youth Orators does. So apart from speaking skills, we develop these skills as well.
Amazing. I wish I was in your class when I grew up, Indu. Yeah, how amazing to learn box breathing or journaling and like expressing themselves. And Yeah, that's very important. Not when I think about it, it's not just for workplace or to make a living and for just for the basic survival, but it's also for relationship building, friendships. Which area it is not required. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially for students when they are transitioning from primary to high school, where they are moving us to a different school, they have to find it's a new environment where they need to find new friends. These skills like help them to make that small talk, because socially sometimes children can be feeling awkward, like what do I go and talk to this new person, how do I even open up? So all these inhibitions or self doubt and not understanding who actually fits into my circle, when they learn, it becomes easy for them to navigate.
Yeah, even to find who is in your tribe, isn't it? Like, yeah, you have so much self doubt, and from especially in that age around puberty and transitioning from primary to high. Yeah, definitely, I can understand. From self doubt, they have to go into that self belief mode. So I guess you are helping them to develop that.
Yeah, yeah. They learn how to introduce themselves, and then what type of questions they can ask, open-ended questions. So then they are like, then they pick up the how to lead the conversation. All these little things they practice inside the class, so they are able to build that confidence, and then they make friends. Yeah,
Amazing. Much needed. I would say these are more life skills, not just speaking skills and communication skills or regulation, emotional regulation skills, but also life skills. Because,
absolutely.
yeah, like I think loneliness is a pandemic that our younger generation is facing a lot more these days. And I think communication will solve that problem.
Yeah. As you were talking about the pandemic, there is a research. What they have done is kids who have started going to school after the pandemic, they have difficulty in social skills and communication skills.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like you have been in a shell, just interacting with your family, and yeah, of course, they will probably need more help. The kids who are growing up now probably they'll need more help to express themselves, simply to express more than anything else, isn't it?
True,
Yeah,
true. So
yeah.
true. Yeah.
So I know your background is from neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, and you have developed your own emotional well-being for women, and now that's what you are incorporating into the uh, youth orators for kids. But then, how did you get started in this? Why did you even wanted to do youth orators at all?
um, well, Meena, I think it's, I mean, if I have to answer it in a very short form or one way, I think it's destined to happen. But having said that, it was not really strategically, it was not strategized that I need to do this. But as growing up, I always wanted, many friends around me, and wanted to be, heard inside the family. I think all those things, what I was lacking back then, it kind of made me feel like, as I was entering into this life coaching aspects few years before, I was like, I need to do something for the children. But it wasn't like very clearly defined. Like my vision was, I need to do something for the children and for the women, but wasn't really quite defined. At that stage, I was in fact coaching the immigrant professionals on their communication skills. So then I was like, and it happened so that one of a parent, like I just met them in a workplace, and they asked like, would you be doing the same for my for kids as well. Like he didn't ask for his own, but then that was the time it struck me, wow, why didn't I think through about it before? Like, and then it's like, okay, I need to do something. What is that something for the kids? This is what I want to do, because communication skills is very important. When I came here to Australia, although I was thinking I was okay with communication and presenting myself well, I had a lot of self doubts when I came here, and I was struggling as well. So I was like, why would we need to develop the skills in the later stage rather than introduce at the earlier stage where they don't have to, struggle through all these things. They can build that confidence, resilience, from the younger age, and that's when they can actually thrive in their life rather than trying to solve one problem or the other. So that's how I think youth orators started, and I'm happy that the question came from a parent that would you be doing it for the children. That was the spark, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. I'm glad a parent, triggered you to do this because now I can see that a lot more kids are benefiting from this. And like I said, even if I was a kid, I would, do this program with you. So I'm really glad that you have taken that initiative and started this academy. And teaching kids public speaking. And when we talk about public speaking, see, even before starting this podcast, I haven't done any public speaking. And even though we are doing it virtually, sitting far and, it's just on the camera, no, not like, in front of people, but I have come a long way to get to this place. So that makes me think how much stage fear is real when you put someone on stage. Like is that a nerve wracking experience? I think it will be like that for me, even though I have come so far. But how do you deal with kids who come with that fear?
Stage fear is real until we believe it. Let me put it that way, right? So for humans, it's only two fears: fear of falling and fear of noise.
Oh,
That is the two basic fears. We developed other fears because of the environment, because what others have said to us. Like, okay, don't go near the bush, there could be some insect. Don't do this, you might hurt yourself. All these things are being instilled to us. So stage fear is one such thing. I wouldn't say it is instilled to us. It is something which is not, we have been doing it regularly. Anything that we go out of our comfort zone, we are unsure about how am I going to perform this, right? So that is what happens while someone is on the stage. Having said that, I think your question has two things, like public speaking and then stage fear. Public speaking is not just for prepared speeches. It's not for someone who can, talk about their innovations or presentation at work. That is one part of public speaking. But public speaking, by its literal meaning, is if whatever conversation we are doing, Meena, if I have to answer this when there are more than 5 or 10 people or 100, then this becomes public speaking. But I'm the content is going to be the same. And if I'm going to share about my own story or even any story for that matter, storytelling, say for instance, I'm staying the storytelling for many people. Then it's a story that you're much aware of it. That is a public speaking. So it's not like a prepared speech. Now, I had a colleague who called me a couple of weeks before, and she said, like, it was a Christmas party last year, and she was asked a general question like, what are something of a personal, like, what are all your interests, or what's your art form, something like that. And she said, like, there were many in the party, and I was like, it's a simple thing, but I couldn't really answer them Hindu. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I felt so stuck. Like my body kind of tightened up. I couldn't say anything. And in my opinion, this person, like, they have like no communication issues or anything. She's quite open to share anything in the workplace. So I was like baffled, like, what are you talking about? But then she rightly recognized, could be it's a public speaking Indu, because when many people are there, I often get stuck. Even it's a simple thing that I have to answer. That is public speaking. So I think it's a misconception that public speaking is only for people who want to present something, or make speeches and be on big stages. You don't have to be on big stage to do a public speaking. Like, you are saying anything in front of 5 to 10 people at a time, that is public speaking.
Okay.
Yeah. So coming to the stage fear or the fear of speaking when people are there, like in a gathering, that can be overcome, because there was a research they had done where they had, of course, it's with the supervised way. So they were all little babies sitting there playing with their toys. And among that, all these, I think it's a cobra or something. There was or a python. I'm not too sure of the snake type. It's also there, and the kids were playing the toys, grabbing the toys, and they were like squishing this snake, and it's so fun to watch. They had no fear at that age. It's only we are saying like it's a perceived fear what we are saying. Again, with youth orators, when they go through the box breathing and having this narration of doing their affirmations and everything, they can definitely overcome. And I would say a fear is a good thing, because which means I think we are conscious about, we need to present it well to the audience so they get the message. That fear is necessary, a bit of it, but the stage fear, that can be really overcome. It's real only because we are not really comfortable doing that quite often.
Well explained, Indu. So you mean like having those little butterflies is good, but not to block you from expressing yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This episode of Well-Being and Me is proudly sponsored by Heal with Varda. At Heal with Varda, Meena, lovingly known as a flower fairy, specializes in flower therapy, forest bathing, and floral energy healing, nature-based practices designed to gently ease stress, regulate the nervous system, and guide you from burnout and survival mode into a state of clarity, balance, and joy. Through group workshops and private sessions, Meena shares how flowers, trees, and nature can support emotional regulation, inner calm, and deep reconnection. For those seeking more immersive experiences, Floral Energy Healing offers an in-depth support where Meena channels the energy of the flowers to support healing on emotional, energetic, physical, and spiritual levels. To learn more about flower therapy, forest bathing, and floral energy healing, and how these practices can help you live a more radiant life, follow at Heal with Varda on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you also find podcast episodes dedicated to this work. For booking details on upcoming nature-based healing sessions, visit healwithvarda.com or check the show notes.
So that is like a misconception I had, like about what is actually public speaking, and that answer really helps me. And even there is another maybe another it might be another misconception, like you generally hear like extroverts are good speakers and introverts are not, and extroverts can do good public speaking, maybe not so much for introverts. Is that true at all in your experience and with the kids that you are seeing?
No, it's definitely a misconception that extroverts can speak and introverts cannot speak. Extroverts and introverts, it's not actually based on the communication aspect. The reason extroverts, they are very energetic, they are very bubbly by nature. So they, like, when they see the crowd, they get that the zing in them, and they are like, okay, I want to share everything. So they are like da 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 da. But then the introverts, they are more observing. They would share their opinion only when needed. They are not like voluntarily talking. But when it comes to the clarity in the speech, it's a learned skill, and I think it can go on both ways. So extroverts, not necessarily because they are able to talk without any inhibition, not necessarily they are communicating or they are good speakers. Whereas introverts, since they are like they are taking time and they need to feel the energy and the vibe on the environment, it doesn't mean that they don't. And in with the history, all the great orators, they were all introverts. One such example is the US President, Barack Obama. He's an introvert.
Oh,
But his speeches has it's one of the most searched thing in the YouTube, like how he has, does the speech and how he keeps his body grounded and his voice, his tonality and everything. So yeah, so there is nothing such kind of things like introvert and extrovert. And if parents are labeling the kids, my simple request is do not label your kids that you're an extrovert or an introvert.
I have switched between I'm an extrovert, no, I'm an introvert, no, I'm an ambivert, But why do we need those labels? Yeah. So when I was sharing with my circle of friends about youth orators and what you do and all of that, they had some questions, like a lot of questions actually, and I thought, the most common questions. What are the most common questions that every parent will want to know? Those are the things I wanted to address with you, if that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, bring it on. I'm excited.
Yeah. So even when we talked about extrovert and introvert and all of that, like let's say one parent was saying, like, my child talks a lot, he seems to be an extrovert, and he's booming. And then when I ask something about how did your school go today, he just says a single syllable, like single word, good. That's all, nothing more. So what can she do?
That's a very common question. I do agree. So when a kid says I'm good, it depends on a lot of factors as well, Meena. If you're looking and a response from the child, I would suggest parents to first share, to let them know, because they are learning from us, right? They are learning from us. They model whatever we do from the environment. That's how they grasp things. So instead of just asking a question, start sharing how was your day been, and then share, like, okay, today we had a meeting, not in depth, like general things, and the lunch was good, and things what you would want your child to share with you. I had few talks with my colleagues, and then whatever you want to share it in a nutshell, and then ask them, how did your day go in your school? Then they will probably start to say the same way as how you have shared things with them. Yeah, today the class was good. My friend, she said this. I didn't had my lunch this one because it wasn't so and so. That is how we can encourage them to share things with that, rather than just asking how was your school today, did you do that, rather than bombarding with them with so many questions where they feel overwhelmed, right? So you give them the the way how to go about it, and then you ask them, they will be opening up. And if still kids doesn't open up, we need to also encourage them to share. Maybe for them good is everything, because when someone asks, even an adult, how do we say, how was your day? It's been good. Or in an assy style, not bad. So that's not going to serve, right? So then
Yep.
we introduce, give some vocabularies, like my day was amazing, my day was awesome today, we did this, we did that. The more the expression they hear, the more the vocabulary they will pick it up. So that way, it's not that they don't want to share. That's the maximum we have introduced to them. And that's what we are receiving it back as well. So they learn things very fast. So as long as we are able to give them the understanding how they need to articulate it, they will pick it up.
You mean to model it and then give them the space? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I guess I had this wisdom when my child was growing up, because as soon as he came from school, I was like, how did it go? What did you do today? Like, I was like 10 questions, and then he'll be like, all good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and also I think the timing, as you're mentioning, like, as they come out of the school, they want to really wind down and relax,
True.
right? And asking too many questions is, it's like overwhelming. Like when I come from my workplace, if anyone asks me anything, even my puppy, like he's demanding for a treat, I'm like, let me take some breath. Like I need to first wind down, and then I'm ready to serve everyone. So that is the mentality I have. And I think for kids, they may not be able to say that. So as you mentioned, like give them the space and then give them the opportunity as how they can respond. Like be the first person to encourage them how they can, answer you. Yeah.
But also, there are some parents, who think, oh, my kid is very busy with academics. They have to go for these classes, and then they also do sport to keep themselves physically fit. So they don't think speaking is much important. They are like, oh, it is needed much later on, not now. Like, why bother? So those kind of objections are also there. So what do you have to tell for them, Indu?
Well, that's the thing, right? Nowadays, parents like they focus so much on the other activities, and academics is the primary focus because of the competition and all that. Now, imagine, I'm not going to go against what they are saying, but I'm just trying to be more uh, I would want to go in depth with this. So when someone is, focusing on the education part, and then they go to the university, and then they go for job, in all these stages, you will have to, the child has to go through a certain transition, and each transition requires a way to handle themselves, and then the way how they have to project themselves. Even in the workplace, say for instance, if the parent thinks, okay, they can go to the job and then let that see like whether they need to have the skill developed or not. It is said that if a person is technically strong, like say 9 out of 10 over here, and if they are only able to communicate and articulate at 3 out of 10, they are only perceived as 3 out of 10, not 9 out of 10. How you communicate is how people are going to perceive you. So even if you're technically strong on your subject, like you know the ins and outs, but if you're not able to have the communication skill is the basics for collaboration, people skill, leadership, everything. That's the base foundation. Again, once again, I want to mention this with the AI things, everything has been collaborated and automated. How are you even going to show or tell the world that you are an expert in something? How can you show that? It's only through communication, and that's the only way you can build rapport, because there would be a fatigue for everyone. When, say, for instance, when you give a call to, say, anything, Optus or anything, and then there is an automated voice says, is that something you would want to have? And I'm like, what, tell me in single word, what is the call for? You feel so annoyed, like you're not listening to the actual human voice and you're talking to a machine. There will be a fatigue there sometime where you don't want to deal with the machines, you want to talk to the actual person. And that is where the people skill is very important and the communication skill is important, right? So if they develop earlier, they'll be the master in the skill as well, rather than being a beginner at a later stage. So it is, so whether you want to shine in academics, communication is not, speaking skill is not just for any competition or anything. Speaking skills actually develops clarity in a child's mind, clarity of thoughts. If they have to say something, you need to have clarity. Am I going to talk about ABC, or am I going to be focused only on the particular aspect of this? Is it the A part I want to go in depth, or I'm going to make it as general conversation? The clarity of thoughts is very important in communication. Otherwise, we say this person is blabbering something, right? It's not like really articulated well. It's not been sliced down properly. So communication skills is as equally important as you are, developing your academics, because that will require in every stages. As I said, there is a transition from primary to high school, and there is a transition from high school to uni, and it's even more tougher to find friends, and from there to workplace to actually prove your skill sets and everything. Interview skills, communication skills. How many struggle in the interviews? How do I articulate this message? Tell me about yourself. That very first thing. What do I say? How do I say? So the earlier the better.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. No, when you were explaining all about it, I was thinking through my workplace and, how we work as a team. And, I have seen so many team members who are super good technically. They can build wonderful products like software products. But then when it comes to communicating and articulating, they are not able to express themselves well. And I have seen them miss out on the career growth, miss out on many other opportunities. Yeah, yeah, that is I was just thinking about was only the workspace. But then if you imagine that in every other area of your life, yeah, I can see the impact. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I've been through all stages, Meena.
correct.
I've
Yeah,
been through all
every
Yeah.
transition, isn't it? It is important for every transition line in life, like as you said, from primary, high school, college, and then to workplace, and finding a partner, getting married, having kids, even modeling to them how to communicate. It goes a long way, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. But let's say a child, we are saying how much communication is important and all of that. But let's say a child has a speech issue. They are already doing speech therapy, or, doing some drama lessons or something like that to put themselves out there. And they think, they are already doing this. So why should they also do public speaking? How is that justified? Or what should they do?
That's a very good question, actually. So, speech therapy is a must, like because it's a lot more, science oriented. How they understand to bring certain things out of the kids, which is good to start with. But that doesn't stop them to learn another skill, because I don't exactly know what speech therapy is involved about, but it definitely helps the students to the child to open up and develop that language skill and whatnot. Having said that, public speaking is it, as I said, like it taps into the creativity. Like the therapy helps them to overcome the speech issues, like if they are not able to tell a particular word or bring anything to that, that's a help. Like I'm not saying don't go for that's not what it is, but that alone is not enough, right? If the child has to tap into the creativity and be more fluent in what they want to say for instance, I have had a student who they did go to this speech therapy, but then the parents felt like this public speaking program will help their kid. And so when they moved him, the reason is, although the child was still going to the speech therapy, before he could actually complete the statement, the children were busy, so they run playing, and he was feeling a bit dejected about himself, like I'm not heard, like students, like my friends are not waiting for me to play with them or even for me to share what I have to share. After being to this class, like I would say 3 to 4 weeks time, there was no hesitation. He's tapped into his creativity, he's able to articulate well. And with the emotional aspects that we go through, it helped wonderful for that kid. And one of the best student, I would say, he's come a long way. So it helps in different way. And going through drama, it helps as well. Whichever it helps for the kids, go for that. But again, public speaking, it's not, I wouldn't say like it is not necessarily, don't neglect it. It depends on how the kid would want to shine and show up themselves. Say for instance, if drama is something that they enjoy alongside with speech therapy, go for it. If they want to really be more expressive, and you see the change in the behavior, then public speaking would be the space. But either ways, I think whatever best suits for the child, apart from speech therapy, engage in such art forms, whether that's public speaking or drama or theatrical, whatever it is, that would help them to overcome that, the inhibition and all we are doing is, and all of the platform is for them to be seen and to be heard. The voice matters. That is important for the child to be felt, and yeah.
But yeah, true. And with what you are teaching Hindu, it's not only public speaking, but also emotional regulation and expressing themselves and life skills. Like the other day, you were telling me about how your kid in your class was learning about ROI and explaining it to others, and I was like, wow. I didn't know about ROI until I started my business, or more recently, I would say. No awareness before that, but I was amazed that kids at a young age are learning these things. So yeah, I think there are a lot more goodies in your program, I would
Yes,
say.
there's a lot more. Like as I mentioned, like it's not just with the public speaking. I introduce about 80-20 principles for high school students, so they understand the amount of effort of work, where to focus on. And we also talk about cause and effect. We also talk about perception versus projection. So they are being introduced all these new concepts, so they understand that they're not looking for external validations. They are more grounded. So when you introduce all these things, they have the clarity and they are more focused, and obviously they'll be more confident and they are more competent as well. So it's not just with the public speaking, because again, public speaking skills are just listed about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, but as such, when a person is really aware of many things, that would make them feel grounded and more clear on their thoughts. So then whatever they are communicating, or they are making as a speech, it is it's of the depth of the quality in the speech will be really good, rather than a superficial talk. So that is the aim of this youth orators. Like, we are not doing it for the sake of doing it. We are actually building something real strong foundation, so they don't have to feel like, okay, I'm good at one aspect and I'm not really good at the other aspect. It's like overall how they can develop themselves as an individual, so then they can lead the life, and these are the skills will help them in their academic achievements as well. So if a student understands about 80-20 principle, they needn't go through all the pages. They would focus on where the most effort has to go in that 20% of that. And then you get the maximum result, rather than you feel like hard work is the main. And many doesn't understand what is hard work and what smart work. This is smart work. Understand about 80-20 principle, you will be doing a smart work rather than doing the hard work. So those are the skills we develop here.
I think all the skills that you mentioned, I'm like, okay, these are building blocks to become a leader. And and that is where I'm thinking, like, the kids who go through your program probably end up as a wonderful, thoughtful
Yeah.
leaders. So your program covers for various levels, right, Indu?
Sure, Meena. So, as you were mentioning about the leadership, yes, leadership skills is very important, because for a leadership skill, what is primarily important? One has to know to lead themselves. If you're not able to lead yourself, you cannot be in the leadership position. So leadership skills, it's more of the self-lead aspect. So they learn all of that in here. Each of the levels focuses on different aspects of the emotional well-being, in the speech, how they can do. We introduce a lot of frameworks, because frameworks help them to, articulate their message, whatever it is, in an easier way, rather than having a thought there and don't know how to, like, really put it in a form where you can deliver it confidently. So the frameworks helps them. Okay, so for instance, in impromptu we have this prep method. So prep, we say P is for the point that you would want to establish, R is for reasoning, and E is an example, and then again the P is you summarize the whole thing. You bring the point back and emphasize that. So when I give them this framework, it's easy for them to like really put those thoughts in this form, and they can easily present. Like you don't have to like really struggle. How am I going to say? What am I going to say? You've got the framework there, right? So the leadership skills again comes from like when you have the clarity on thoughts and you're using, you're resourceful, that will help you to become the leader. Like I think in primary they have in year 6 you can be an school captain, and I think in year 12 as well they can become a school captain. And many of my students who have actually run that to be in the school captain, whether or not they have been elected or not, that's a secondary question. But even for them to gain the confidence that yes, I am one among them, out of say maybe I don't know how many kids would be in a high school or in a primary. Say even if it's in a 70, or even then among 70 of the kids, not everybody are competing. So you are able to put yourself out there. That is leadership skills, right? You're building the courage to say like I'm ready to face this. This is a new thing. This is uncomfortable, but then I'm ready to face this as a challenge. So that's the skill they develop, and in each level, as I said, it's based on how far the child can develop. So we do the journaling, we ask them to do a book reading, then you need to summarize a book. In a certain level, we have them to write an article, how to write an article, and then in the next level, we ask them to do an interview with someone, maybe in the their school teacher or anyone whom they feel like they want to know more about their field. So we talk about the interview skills. Then there is a debating skills, and then the last opportunity is, as I said, this is an academy. This is a foundation, and there's no end for this. Like although I said it's level 5, in level 5, if they want to become a mentor in the youth orators, then we give them the mentoring training as well. So then they can train the other students who are coming on board with youth orators. So they have a lot of exposure and a lot of learning, which is not just to build academics. It is beyond that. It's beyond that.
Wow, what a journey. And also, do they get an opportunity to showcase like end of the year? And because I have been to your previous one, so do you
Well,
do that
Meena, the
regularly?
one that you came to is an annual event. Yes, an annual event is basically a celebration event where what throughout the year what they have achieved with youth orators, and we reward them. And but they to showcase their talent, we have yearly speaking competition. That's when they do their prepared speeches, and we have external judges, because we don't want to be biased with anything. So I bring external judges to judge their speaking skills, and then we offer them again with the offering of the prize as well. It's not about just the certificate. I give them the opportunity. Like a couple of my students have already done MC, like they were age group of 9 and 12 or 13, doing an MC at that stage, imagine. So I give them the exposure for in every possible way. So, and there were a couple of students who were in the student speaker panel as well, where they were asked different set of questions, and they were like, responding in front of their parents and others. So those are the things we do. So yeah, annual event will happen at the end of the year, but every year we do run the speaking competition. And as we go, as I said, like we will be having an article writing, and we will be introducing newsletters where the students can submit their own articles, and there will be debating competition as well. So as they develop their skills, we will be going much bigger on that.
Yeah, like yes, I can't forget two of the MCs from your students, like one who was just 9 year old who was in your annual event last year, and also the another one who was in the
Yes.
launch party of this podcast. So yeah, and also to see the other kids, how far they have come in that journey. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like, do you have an example, Indu, where a child who came to you, who was very quiet and shy and not so confident, to becoming a leader? Like, do you have some examples like that?
Well, I wouldn't actually really label or tag anyone. They were not confident, which I wouldn't do. I didn't see any of the kids, to be honest, Meena. I haven't seen any of the kids like they were timid, they can't do anything. From the day one, they have been the best form of themselves. And yes, they have developed after coming into the youth orators. For instance, I have a student who joined me when she was in year two, I guess. And then, although she wanted to do a lot of speaking in their school, her thing was with the voice projection and hand gestures. So anytime she had to come up on stage, she would feel a bit, you know, the so-called stage fear. But having said that, over the time, she has developed herself so well that her mother once said, like, Indu, after joining your class, like, she conducted a trivia for her brother's birthday, elder brother's birthday, and she was like, she did everything on her own. And the way she conducted, they sent me the clip of that as well. I mean, she did fantabulous, like, she did really well. And I'm like, wow, that's really good. And again, it's not me doing it, it's the program itself, the platform that gives them that space and opportunity for them to try anything. Because in youth orators, we don't, judge. Like, when I say we, me and the other students, whoever come in, we don't judge them for anything, like, no matter what. There is no, even while giving the feedback, there is no right or wrong answer, but we give them the feedback in such a way that what you have done really well, what is that you can improve on. That's it. There's no, oh, this was right, that was wrong. There's no condemning. There is no such thing that we make the student feel bad about it. So that is the feedback, and then they develop slowly. And it's not like a overnight transition. You can see on kids, it's a slow way, but they develop in their own way. And not just with one student, as I was just mentioning now. It's with every student. There was another student who just came for, I think, less than 3 months because they had to move to overseas. And when he came, he was shy. He was like not able to even, sit in that class for this virtual class. He was a bit feeling restless. But then I've had this testimonial from him, from his own words, not even his mother. He said, like, after coming to this class, I'm able to speak really confidently. I'm able to talk without inhibitions, and this class has helped me a lot. And that was a very short time. As I said, it's not even 3 months time. Like, they had to move overseas, and because of the time zone, like, he couldn't continue. But that's the effect this Youth Orators program offers to the kids. So yeah.
What a transformation. Like, amazing to hear about the kids, how they are doing and where they started and where they are now. Yeah. So we are coming to a close, Indu. So before we wrap up the session, would you like to offer some words to the children and parents who are listening to
Sure.
this podcast?
Sure. To the parents first, we want to raise our kids in such a way that they want to be academically strong. They want to achieve heights in their life. But at home, I think we need to also create the environment where they are able to express themselves, they are able to make decisions for themselves. So then they build the confidence in that aspects. And the only way that I see is if we have an environment where they can express anything, that would be the best way for them to develop that confidence, not just in speaking, but because that's a base foundation. If I'm able to express clearly at home, which means I'm heard, and so I can, have this belief and I can face the outer world. And so if we can provide that from home, that would be fantastic. And also, if you want your kid to be like, not just academic, I want to give this life skill, this communication skill to the kids, so then they are not like, waiting for others to validate them. Rather than they are self-regulated, they are more self-aware, and they are self-confident. Youth orators will be a brilliant platform. And I'm not saying just because this has been developed by me. This has been really curated, well curated for the development of the kids in every level of certification. And this will help. And I have seen, I have felt, and I've got parents who have, voluntarily came and told me like, this program is actually helping them. So on that note, yeah, if you are looking for any such program, Youth Orators is always open for you. And we do have a trial class where you can bring in your child and see how it goes for them. And I'm pretty sure they will enjoy it. And for students, the children out there, you want to have a fun interactive class where you can share about anything, about your achievements, about your friends, about anything at all, where you want some cheerleaders inside the class, where you, for all your small wins, we are like, yay. Then this is the class where you can learn about speaking skills. At the same time, you can develop your own, the innovation, if you have any innovative ideas, how to then develop that in a form where it's very structured, so you can actually confidently talk about to your parents, to your teachers, and to your friends as well. This platform will be the best. And and it's open doors for all these students.
That's so wonderful to message for both parents and kids. And do you have any event upcoming, Indu?
We do have a workshop that's coming in February. I'll probably share those details. And this workshop is, I'll tell you what the workshop is about. The workshop is about goal setting and vision board, which is really important because in the sense, when we have certain goal that we would want to focus on, that way your whole intention for the year is set, so you're not going to be distracted anywhere. You're jotting it down. And vision board is another activity. It's the same form of goal setting, but it's a lot more fun and interactive. So that's the workshop that we are conducting it. And I will share the dates as well in the show notes, so those who are interested can join us.
Vision board while in school. How I'm so excited for the kids. Like I have done the vision boarding with you before. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year we had in-person class, not the vision board. We had the goal setting, and I was talking more about the productivity skills as well. So they learned about time management and all that. And we had this board breaking activity, which we do it in our NLP. Usually that's where I learned, and other events. And they did the board breaking. They were really having fun with that board breaking activity as well. So yeah.
Very nice. Do you have anything else you want to share, Indu, in case I have missed to talk about it?
Well, I think just for the general thing is like, as long as you're learning something, try to regulate yourself, be more self-aware what's happening around the environment, do what you have to do. If you're really confused with the thoughts, the high recommendation is do the journaling, write what you have enjoyed, what you could actually improve on anything, and then find out the answers for yourself. I think that way you will be more self-aware and you'll be more confident in the next steps that you can choose. And don't be scared of asking or seeking help or expressing what you like and what you are not comfortable with, whether it's parents or outsiders, because you're all the future leaders and you need to stand for yourself. before you can start leading others. So, on that note, um, yeah, I don't think I have further more to add, but all the best for all the students as the year starts 2026. Do well, shine well.
You know how I feel now? Like a 6 year old who has been through your program just by hearing about it and all the fun things that you do and how much you are teaching. And yeah, I feel so empowered just by this conversation. So I'm sure the kids who come through these programs will benefit a lot, and parents will also see how much it adds value to their children's lives and to their family as a whole. So I'm sure it will be cherished. Thank you so much, Indu.
Thank you. Thanks, Meena.